I'm going to ask the question, does Olivia Wilde hate babies? Okay, today we're going to go over Shia LaBeouf's letter to Olivia Wilde published in Variety magazine. It may sound funny to you, but Shia LaBeouf is actually a genius writer, and I am going to prove it to you today. So for background, director Olivia Wilde said she fired Shia LaBeouf from the film Don't Worry Darling, and Shia LaBeouf fired back in a letter saying he actually quit, he was not fired, and I'm going to take you through all the details. I want to make it clear, I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't really care who's telling the truth. These people don't mean anything to me. I'm just analyzing the quality of writing in Shia LaBeouf's letter, which is shockingly high. This is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to take the high ground in a sticky situation, and you're going to learn how to gently throw someone under the bus, and I think you're going to be surprised at how clever Shia LaBeouf is. Olivia drew first blood with what she said in a Variety interview. She said he has a process that in some ways seems to require a combative energy, and I don't personally believe that is conducive to the best performances. I believe that creating a safe, trusting environment is the best way to get people to do their best work. Ultimately, my responsibility is to the production and to the cast to protect them. That was my job. So what is Olivia Wilde saying? She's saying she wants to be perceived as someone that cares about her crew, and she also implies that Shia is a dangerous person. After all, she has to protect the production people and the cast from him, and she literally says she wants to create a safe, trusting environment, and it seems like that cannot be done with Shia LaBeouf around. And then he fires back. Now you see there's a picture of a baby on the screen, and it is for very good reason. The baby is very, very important to this story. So I'm going to go through paragraph through paragraph Shia LaBeouf's response. So he says, I hope this finds you inspired, purposeful, fulfilled, and well. I pray every night that you and your family have health, happiness, and everything God would give me. No joke, every night before I sleep. So instead of just saying, Olivia, you're a liar, Shia starts by wishing her well. This is him trying to be the bigger person and take the high road. Now, it is a little bit over the top to say that he prays for Olivia Wilde and her family every single night, but which I think is a bit of an error, but overall you can see he's trying to take the high road after he was attacked. And he goes on to say, I have a little girl, Isabel. She is 5 months old and just beginning to develop the last half of her laugh. It's amazing. Mia, my wife, and I have found each other again and are journeying towards a healthy family with love and mutual respect. So what is Shia doing here? He's humanizing himself. He's also trying to do some image rehab because he has a reputation of a little bit of a wild guy. And if you notice, he talks about his daughter's laugh. So that makes his daughter real. It makes you literally think of a baby laughing, and that is a great visual. Also, if you notice, the language is a bit awkward, which actually makes it seem more authentic, and it makes it you think that this isn't some overly prepared thing from a PR agency. For example, like the sentence, Mia, my wife, and I that made me think for a second, wait, is Mia the baby's name? And then I remembered, no, I just read it's Isabel. So the whole thing, it's a little bit clunky, but to me, that's actually a positive because it makes it feel real and from the heart. Then he goes on to say, I have embarked on a journey that feels redemptive and righteous. I write to you now with 627 days of sobriety and a moral compass that never existed before my great humbling that was the last year and a quarter of my life. I reached out to you a few months ago to make amends, and I still pray one day you can find space in your heart to forgive me for the failed collaboration we shared. What he's doing is he's making a damaging admission. This makes him seem more honest. He's not trying to pretend that he's this perfect little angel. He makes mistakes too. And again, this is part of humanizing himself. This is super, super smart, especially because he's about to throw Olivia Wilde under the bus. Next, it's what inspired this email today is your latest Variety story. I am greatly honored by your words on my work. Thank you. That felt good to read. I am a little confused about the narrative that I was fired, however. You and I both know the reasons for my exit. I quit your film because your actors and I couldn't find time to rehearse. I have included as a reminder the screenshots of our text exchange on that day and my text to Toby. So Shia has a reputation for being an aggressive, hot-headed person, so he says, I am a little confused to soften his direct attack. Then he cites evidence that Olivia lied, these alleged text messages, this text message to Toby, whoever that is. So he's sort of easing into his attack, which is perfect for somebody that's known to be a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, but let's just say aggressive. Then we have, I know that you are beginning your press run for DWD and that the news of my firing is attractive clickbait as I am still persona non grata and may remain as such for the rest of my life. But speaking of my daughter, I often think about the news articles she will read when she is literate. And though I owe and will owe for the rest of my life, I only owe for my actions. Now, this is super, super super clever because Shia is framing Olivia's alleged lie, I say alleged because I don't know who's lying and who's not, as an attack on his 5-month-old daughter. Now, is this a dirty trick? Maybe, maybe not. That's for you to decide. But he's bringing his daughter directly in as the victim to paint Olivia as the villain. So I'm going to ask the question, does Olivia Wilde hate babies like this nice looking baby we have on the screen now? This is a stock photo, by the way. This is not Shia LaBeouf's actual child, but this is sort of the subtext of Shia LaBeouf's letter. Olivia Wilde hates my 5-month-old baby and is attacking her. Let's go on. My failings with Twigs are fundamental and real, but they are not the narrative that has been presented. There is a time and a place to deal with such things, and I am trying to navigate a nuanced situation with respect for her and the truth, hence my silence. But the situation with your film and my quote-unquote firing will never have a court date with which to deal with the facts. If lies are repeated enough in the public, they become truth. And so it becomes much harder for me to crawl out of the hole I have dug with my behaviors to be able to provide with my family. Now, this seems like a giant word salad, but look at the word it ends with. It ends with the word family. So once again, Shia is positioning Olivia as someone who's attacking his family, including his 5-month-old daughter. Now we have firing me never took place, Olivia, and while I fully understand the attractiveness of pushing that story, because of the current social landscape, the social currency that brings, it is not the truth. So I am humbly asking, as a person with an eye towards making things right, that you correct the narrative as best you can. I hope none of this negatively affects you and that your film is successful in all the ways you want it to be. Shia could have said, you didn't fire me, I quit, but he used very passive language, like firing me never took place. He never flat out says, you are a liar. But again, he's using this passive language to seem less aggressive, and he ends by wishing her luck, which sort of closes this out on a positive note. Now, as a reminder, I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't really care who's telling the truth. I don't really follow celebrity gossip. I'm just analyzing the quality of writing in Shia LaBeouf's letter. So let's go through what he did wrong and what he did right. Now, to me, the only thing he really did wrong is saying he prays for Olivia Wilde and her family every night, because even if it's true, it's over the top. And I think to a lot of people, that's not going to come off as authentic, because, I mean, you could say you're a talented director, I love working with you, blah, 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 but saying he prays for her every night, it's just a little bit too much for me. Now let's go over what he did well. Now, the first thing is the whole letter was not that polished, so it sounded like he actually wrote it himself. And I would not be surprised if he wrote this whole thing word for word with no input from PR people or anything, just because it was a little clunky, a lot of extra words, some awkward phrasing. So I think there's a good chance he actually wrote it. He also started and ended on positive notes to sort of take the high ground, which is great, especially when he's throwing her under the bus. He's making himself look good while he makes her look bad. He also made his point without being too aggressive, which runs counter to, again, his reputation for being, a little bit of a wild guy. He also referenced specific evidence to back up his side of the story. And again, most of all, he framed Olivia Wilde's statement as an attack on his 5-month-old daughter. That makes Olivia the monster. And if she is the monster, Shia's family are victims. This is very clever visual persuasion by bringing in this idea of this little 5-month-old girl who's like, she's developing her laugh, and Olivia is making an attack on her. It's, is this gross? Is it over the top? You let me know. Post in the comments, let me know. And again, this is a stock photo. This is not actually Shia LaBeouf's daughter. So I'm giving Shia LaBeouf a score of 91 out of 100 for this letter, because frankly, he did a great job of painting Olivia Wilde as a villain and his family as the victims. Again, I'm not taking sides. I'm just rating the effectiveness of his writing and how good a job he did of persuading people to his side. And I think he did a really, really, really good job. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to have a lot more interesting writing analysis videos coming soon. I'll talk to you later. Bye.